right. Well, connect now with someone who used to share an office just down the hallway, and now a little bit harder to see him, but I'm so happy when our paths cross. My friend Brian Rasmussen with us today, and a new chapter I think is appropriate to talk about with Brian, as he is now a published author, a motivational speaker, and a mentor right here in the Fox Cities. He's going to highlight a couple of the events he's speaking at and tell us a little bit about his book, Today You Will, a story of redemption, courage, and 5 principles to a better you. Brian, great to see you.
Haley, it's so great to see you. And I continue to see you in a memory that was perfect for my book launch, and that was you gracing the karaoke stage at my book launch. Your voice so beautiful. You have a second career, you know that.
Well, it's funny. Singing has come up twice now in this hour. With Marilise here, we were talking about a theater week for Lawrence students to be, and I must say, don't make me sing. I mean, it's like I do love a microphone. I always have, and now I get paid to talk on the microphone, though not sing. People don't want to hear me sing here today, but thank you, friend.
The book launch was so fun, and my wife and I, we just enjoyed all the people that were there. And it was more than a book launch. Mm-hmm. We felt it was people like you and others who gathered to help us get the message out about Today You Will. And I'm excited about that. That is the book that I published after retiring from Insight Magazine.
Yes. And you were writing that book while kind of in that about to retire, and then retired season.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that season for you and the writing and the writing from the heart.
Yes. Actually, for me to look back on retirement and walking away from Insight, how do you do that after 17 years of month-to-month deadlines of getting out the next magazine? But what I found is it gave me the space that I needed to start working on something that had been on my heart for so many years. Do you know that it was over 10 years that I had told people, I have a book that I need to write. It's called Today You Will.
It reminds us, though, I think, of something we can all relate to. It's all that we have something we want to do, but we maybe don't commit to really following through and getting it done.
Yes, and that is the story of Ezra. So if I can tell a little bit about the book.
Please.
I always had in my heart to tell a story of someone that maybe people knew or would recognize, but I don't want to give away the plot here. But as you know, this past Friday, we heard the words, "Today you will be with me in paradise," if you attended a Good Friday service. So the story of Ezra is someone who finds himself in a situation that he didn't expect. And as he looks back and he asks the questions, how did I get here? He sees himself in his past life with decisions that he either made or decisions he avoided. And I think so many readers are telling me, I see a part of myself in Ezra. Things that maybe I've put off, I've delayed. Because let's face it, we're all good at certain things, right? But there's other things that could make us better. But for whatever reason, we have a pretty good way of justifying or maybe building walls around our heart where we don't pursue what we know we should.
And for those who believe in a higher calling, I think sometimes what God wants them to be pursuing as well.
For sure. And that's where, as I'm writing this book, I'm going like, oh my gosh, I see myself in Ezra. Who put off the book for 10 years?
Well, put off no longer.
Put off no longer.
It's out.
Yes. And one of the reasons why I stopped putting it off was because of sometimes situations happen in your life where all of a sudden it forces you to move forward. And you know a bit of our story. My son, Ian, 26 years old, extremely healthy, extremely talented, extremely intentional on how he pursued life. He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and it was a short 6-month journey with him as he took on that battle. And we had the conversation of how we would approach this. And, I remember the conversation. It was like, Ian, we only have a day. today is the only day we've been given. It's the precious gift we have, and how are we going to live it? And so the idea of the story of Ezra, which I had always carried, and then the situation with Ian and the importance of today, Ian becomes the closing portion of the book. You know, I say he's the heartbeat of the book that got the book to life. And today takes on different meaning, because in the middle, then there is the today principles. There's 5 principles that will help people move to intentionality and purposeful life.
And I'm sure, again, this can connect with people in so many areas. Maybe it's a young person, you know, about to graduate from college and that needs that confidence. Maybe it's someone considering a different career path. Maybe it's a new parent who just needs a little bit of encouragement to get through those very, very, very long days, right? There's something for everyone in that book.
Can I share a couple feedbacks that I've gotten so far?
Go for it.
I mean, this is what makes it all worthwhile, because my son teaches at Notre Dame. My older son, Noah, I'm sorry. He teaches at Notre Dame Academy up in Green Bay, and he said, "Dad, can I leave some copies of the book in the lunchroom?" Which he did. And one of the teachers then shared it with one of her students. That student came up to him and said, "Mr. Rasmussen, is your dad going to be writing another book soon? I just read the book from cover to cover." And tell him, I went out and bought a guitar yesterday. So obviously that was something that he was thinking about. I had another mother who has been going through leukemia treatments with her son. And she said, you know, the treatments will be done in like the next half year. And my focus was on, well, when these get done. She said, your book helped me realize that I need to be very intentional with how I'm present today. So that was cool. And then the big one for me was my niece checked into rehab for alcoholism. That was cool.
Wow. Brian, that's amazing.
Good stuff.
Thinking of her. And we want to make sure our listeners know how to find the book, which we'll share at the end of the segment as well. But you can also hear Brian speak on a lot of those principles that you write about in your book. And you can meet him at an event that we just mentioned here on the show on Friday. So we'll pause, but we'll come back with some ways you can connect with Brian moving forward on WHBY. Welcome back. We are dancing in the Myron Construction Studios of WHBY. Good Monday morning to you. I'm Haley Tenpass. Joining me today is Brian Rasmussen, former publisher of Insight Publications, just down the hallway from us, now in a new chapter as an author and a motivational speaker. And Brian, I am so excited to hear about where you're going to be speaking and talking to a few groups very, very soon. This month, we're highlighting 2 events. The first on the 19th of April, and we just had 2 local authors on the show on Friday talking about this event, the Authors Among Us event in De Pere, and you're one of those authors among us.
That is so unbelievable. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. This is the first time that I would be attending this event.
Okay.
So I am looking forward to being able to talk with people about the book. I know that these types of events, people get to understand, well, how did you put together the book, or what is the book about? And I am looking forward to chatting with people and just giving them more of that background.
Yes, and your book will be available at that event for perhaps a signed copy if people are so interested.
Yes, I do believe that they have where you can sell the book, but I want to let your listeners know that at that event, and also another event that I'll be speaking at this month, those personal appearances, as I call it, people will be able to receive a complimentary copy of the book, a signed copy of the book, and that's due to the generosity of Myron Construction. Dave Voss was wonderful. He walked the journey a little bit with me when our son was diagnosed with cancer, and he got to see a kind of a sneak peek of Ezra's story, and he said, "Brian, I want to help get the message out," which has been awesome because I haven't had to say, "Well, you have to go out here and buy it." I can just give a copy like I did to
I've got one myself.
Trevor.
Yeah.
as he left the studio.
Yes.
He said, "And here's a book."
I love that. And that just sounds like a very Dave thing to do. So
Yes.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Myron Construction. I love that so much, that just getting the book into people's hands for that message.
Yes.
So that's happening again Sunday, the 19th of April. Authors Among Us in De Pere. We do have details up on our website, WHBY.com. We just had Roger and Deb on the show last week. So if you meet Roger and Deb when you're up there, say hello.
Will do.
And April 21st, just a few days later, you are at the Excellence in Leadership Luncheon. And tell us about this event.
This is an event that I've attended in the past, and I've really enjoyed. It is the opportunity for business leaders and business owners to hear principles that will help move their business forward. Christian principles, and that is definitely part of my faith story. As I ran my business, I always... People said, you kind of wore your faith on your sleeve as you ran your business. And I said, well, I believe strongly that, we're not on Sunday the God person, and then on the weekdays the work person, and the evenings your family person. Your life is an interconnected life. And so the ability for me to share parts of my faith journey, and then some of the principles in the Today You Will book and my story of Ian, I'm just looking forward to that.
Yeah. And this is something that you're hoping to do more speaking engagements if offered the opportunity?
Yes. My feeling is that what really drives me is that as a person who started a business, grew a business, even sold a business and transitioned it, I tell you, there are times where I think people would have looked at you and said, "Brian, success." But there were times where it was chaos, and I felt so alone. And the ability for me to have the front row seat at Insight Magazine with other business owners and leaders throughout the region, and understanding that so many of them, they carry a lot of weight. They carry a lot of responsibility. And I know that people work extremely hard, but I've heard them say, just like I did, "I'm working so hard, I felt I should be further along than this right now." And sometimes I feel so alone. So the ability to be very transparent about that message, and to share the feelings about how purposeful intention is important, because as business owners, it's not that they don't have the ability to set intention. It's just we're so darn busy sometimes. And to be able to take a look at some of the things that will help them to move forward in areas where they want. And I know that was a big thing for me as I went through my transition with selling Insight, is that I had to take a look at what my next chapter would be. This was all a part of my next chapter. I always kind of envisioned myself being able to help others, but until things happened with my son, until I started actually getting some personal coaching myself, I really didn't have it that focused in.
I think that's so relatable for people, and it's, I think, appreciated on many levels too, because we look at people and put them on pedestals sometimes, or think, oh, they would never feel those feelings. Look at how successful they are. That imposter system doesn't discriminate.
No.
It's not exclusive, right?
No.
So it's nice to know that's very relatable, Brian.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And I've been blessed with some stories that I'll be able to share that I think people will very much relate to. And as I mentioned, the principles in the book today, I believe there's a real strong connection with the principles that are in Scripture, and they work for folks. They work for folks. Let me tell you, I'm a firsthand example of how I've been very blessed throughout my life, and now is my opportunity to give back.
Well, listeners, if you are interested in meeting Brian, seeing him at the upcoming events he is part of, 2 dates for you. The 19th at the Authors Among Us event in De Pere, and then on April 21st at the Excellence in Leadership Luncheon. At both events, there are complimentary copies available thanks to Myron Construction. If you cannot wait another second to get this book in your hands, though, they are available on Shmamajan.
I can't give that promotion. I have to admit, I'm learning about the publishing of a book and getting it out there.
Yeah.
They are not available in any local store. But yeah, if you search the web, you'll be able to find it.
Brian, thank you for being here. Where can people follow along with the work that you're doing?
Thank you for asking. If you go to www.todayleadership.com, you will see more about some of the appearances or some ways to stay connected with me. I am looking forward to begin a Today Tuesday email program. I used to have a Feel Good Friday publisher email that I did, but now I'm going to be continuing with a weekly email that'll hopefully have inspiration and encouragement for my readers.
Good to see you, Brian. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
All right. We'll pause here. Up next, your CBS and local news updates. Also, Reach Counseling joining us. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Some important information for you as they also celebrate a huge anniversary. Then it's the History Museum at the Castle. The Prehistoric Wisconsin exhibit is open. Details just ahead.